Hi there, thanks for coming today. My name is Sarah Bergeron and I'll be your instructor for the class. So what we'll be talking about today is the underground injection control of geological sequestration of carbon dioxide. So essentially what this is, does anybody know what this is offhand? Has anybody ever heard of this topic? So nobody? Okay. So it's a pretty in-depth topic that once you get into the regulations and standards of it, is very specific, and it gets deep down into these different details and regulations of what people need to follow in order to be able to do this. So what this is generally is taking the carbon dioxide and the greenhouse gas emissions that is produced from it and being able to put it somewhere down into the earth. And we're going to get more specific into those details here in a minute. So are there any questions or any thoughts or anything that anybody knows about this right offhand? No? Okay. Alright, so as we continue, let me know if you have questions. So a little bit of the background is that carbon dioxide is produced from all these massive power plants that are all around the nation. From steel plants to cement power plants, natural gas plants, even plants and refineries that we have here in Alaska for our oil industry and our oil supply. The main provider, or the main culprit of these carbon dioxide greenhouse gas emissions would be the electrical power plants. Now these are probably one of the most popular ones all around the nation, right? Everyone needs electricity, or most everybody needs electricity. So this is extremely, extremely popular, and why it's over 40% of the production of this carbon dioxide. Okay? So the underground injection control sites, what they're doing is they're collecting, they're gathering and sustaining this carbon dioxide as best as they can to then put it down into the ground so that it doesn't affect the earth and our atmosphere. So it doesn't cause the greenhouse gas emissions, right? And so it doesn't deplete our earth. So they're using wells to dig down into the earth. We'll get into that here in a minute. And what they're doing is they're putting it in there for long-term storage. So this is a long-term, this is it. It goes down in the ground and it stays there. Okay, so when they want to do this, the goal of it, right, is to decrease greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, trying to save the planet a little bit at a time, doing what they can for us right now. Is there any questions about that? Does everybody kind of understand where the topic is going? Okay, for now, let me know if you have any questions. So the perspective of this is that carbon dioxide and the sequestration of it, so the gathering of it, right, and putting it down into the ground, this is to eliminate the following things. So 3 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions annually come from these carbon dioxide stores from these different plants. Okay, so when we look at that in perspective, in comparison to, that's equal to planting 62 million trees and allowing 10 or more years for them to grow to increase oxygen supply to fight what the greenhouse gas emissions are doing from these carbon dioxide stores. The next one is that other than doing the sequestration for the carbon dioxide, you could eliminate 300,000 homes from having electricity annually. Okay, that's a lot of people without electricity that probably don't want to go that route. So right now this is a good option for us to eliminate GHGs, greenhouse gas emissions, and to try to help save the planet. So where will it go? So this is going way down deep into the Earth's core, into the Earth's surface. So 5,000 to 7,000 feet down is where it's going after these injection wells are drilled. Okay, so it's going very, very deep into the earth. So the wells are dependent on where it's being dug, where it's being put, how close it is to a water source, and what is going down into the well. So in part of this, we want to follow the Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974 because we don't want to contaminate any drinking wells for water for the population, for people around where the well for the injection site of the carbon dioxide is going. because we don't want it to contaminate the wells or cause any problems for people. Okay? Has anybody heard of this before or seen it done? No? Nobody? Okay. Alright. So there's these different classes of wells that are covering putting these things into the earth, from hazardous to non-hazardous material, from steam to different byproducts of all these different gases that are put into the air, okay? The main one is class number 4. So this one currently is still banned because there's not enough regulation on it, and they don't think it's safe enough to put near wells down into the ground for drinking water. So well requirements are that it should be appropriately sited, constructed, tested, monitored, funded, and closed when the well is done. Okay, when they're done putting stuff down into the well, it needs to be closed properly so it doesn't cause any further problems. The regulations to follow are set forth in 40 CFR through 124 and 144 through 177. Okay? So these are for state and tribal governments. Right now, private wells are not being regulated because there's not enough of them. So again, with the regulations, this just breaks down a little bit further into what each of them go into. So from environment protection, underground injection, which is our focus, state purpose and scope, underground injection control programs, control and criteria standards. Okay? So effects on the earth. We want to be careful of earthquakes, and there's more research to come. So in conclusion, we want to make sure that these are doing what they can for our earth and for the protection of people and the water that we're drinking. Are there any questions? Thank you.